Okay, now this is a really, really nice example of a 1955 Corvette. I think they only made about 700 of these, and this is the first year for the V8. And this one here has the tachometer off the generator, not alternator, and it's in the original red color with the tan interior. This is just a really, really great example of an original 1955 Corvette. You're not going to see too many of these around. Okay, we're here with Aaron Weiss, and this is his 1931 Cadillac. Tell me about your car, Aaron.
Okay, we've owned it about 4 years. 5 years ago it was a Pebble Beach car, and bought it and did some minor mechanical restoration and a little bit of cosmetic restoration, but what you see is pretty much the result of about 4 years of hard work.
Wow.
It's been shown about 18-20 times, and has won anything from best of show, first in its class, best paint and finish. So it's been a real winner for us, and we've had it at Meadowbrook and Kirkland, Palo Alto, Hillsborough, Los Angeles, Palos Verdes, and
wow,
of course here.
So the original color and trim is the way it came from the factory?
Yes, it is. At that point in time, they were so hard up to sell cars that whatever you could afford, they would be happy to apply.
Really? Now, where'd you find this car?
We found it accidentally at an auction I wasn't planning to buy anything at Pebble Beach, and I was looking at two other cars, and the gentleman does my restoration work said, well, look at that one. That's a real car.
Oh, really?
And
really?
so that was it. And
so what's it like to drive a V16?
A lot of power. You're up high.
Yeah.
And it's got a lot of torque, and it's a real smooth, quiet ride.
Right.
And it brings you back to the days of the Great Gatsby, and when times were a little simpler, I think.
Well, really neat. Now, I hear this is just one of a large collection you have.
We have 5 other V16s, and we have a lot of what I would call American classics. So a Packard 12 and Auburns, Cords, different cars. But
right.
Mostly American classics and cars that kind of tell a story about Americana at that period of time, and that's kind of what's most interesting to me.
Well, very nice, Aaron. It was nice meeting you. You have a beautiful car, and hopefully we'll see some of the other cars at some of the shows coming down the road.
Okay.
We'll hook up, maybe come do your whole collection for you.
Well, that'd be swell.
Okay, Aaron, thank you very much. Beautiful car. This is a 1909 Cadillac, and we're talking with the owner, Steve. Steve, tell me about your car.
Okay, it's a 1909 Cadillac. It's a Model 30, which refers to the horsepower. 4-cylinder engine. It has a 3-speed transmission. The headlights are done by acetylene gas, which is generated by that thing right there. So they hadn't quite learned everything on these cars.
Really?
So a lot of
gas. Did you have to fill that up ahead of time?
You put water in it and then a pill of some chemical, and it made acetylene.
Oh, I got you.
You had to light the headlights with a match.
Understood.
Same with the side lights. So these are very elemental cars.
Still a lamp, I think, back in those days.
It is 3 years before the self-starter. So this is start by crank.
Right, okay.
Dual ignition, 1 battery, 1 magneto.
Original color?
It's a correct color.
Right.
This car was restored in the 1970s.
Very nice.
And I got it from the estate. This car hasn't been out in probably 20 years.
Fantastic. It's beautiful. I love the red leather interior.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like the top's all original. It's and what's the thing on the steering wheel?
There's 2 things on the steering wheel. One is the throttle, so you can operate the throttle on the outer lever. The other is the spark advance and retard. Very important to put it on retard when you crank start it, otherwise it'll kick back at you. You don't want that.
I heard that was a thing in the day. Yeah,
very
exactly.
bad. Broken arms, broken thumbs.
Did you drive it out here?
I drive it. I didn't drive it here from Orange County.
Oh, Orange County, that's a long drive.
A long way.
Well, you got a beautiful car. Thank you for talking with us. Check us out on the web.
Right
okay,
on.
appreciate it. Well, we're obviously on the Cadillac row here. Is a beautiful Eldorado Baritz 1958, one of my favorites. Beautiful red interior, and it looks to be like an original interior. It's got the light minder and just a beautiful car. And looking down the Corvette row here, we got another nice coupe here. It's a 1961 Cadillac, and we just keep getting better as we go down the line here. 1953, all original. Looks like original engine, original paint. Beautiful car. Got a few more caddies to look at, but we'll take you down the row.
I actually drove the car in today. I drove it from Hollywood Hills.
Well, we moved down the road here. We're now at a 1960 Eldorado Barritz, and this is owned by Melanie here. Melanie, tell me about your car.
Hi, it's a 1960 Eldorado Barritz. It has 56,000 original miles on it. Everything's original except for the paint and the convertible top. Everything you see is original. There's 100 to 103 factory bucket seats that they made on this car, and we have one of them. And we purchased this car about 1.5 years ago out of Boston, Massachusetts, and that's where it's originally from.
Wow, wow. And what color paint is this? It's got the metal flake in it.
This is called a Pompeian red. This was a factory color back in 1996. And
you got something special under the hood, too. It's just not a stock V8, right?
No. And you know more about that than I do,
Well, I'm
actually.
reading your board here. You got a Tri-Power Factory 345 under there.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's more my husband's territory.
I got you, but you had a good time driving it today out here.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for talking to us about your car. We really appreciate it, Melanie. Check us out on the website.
I sure
You bet.
will.
Thanks.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye. Sorry about that one. I blew it.
That's okay. Don't worry. We have a great showing of Oldsmobiles at this show. We've just gotten into where the Oldsmobiles are parked, and here's a beauty here. It's a 1950 Oldsmobile, and there's a bunch of Tornados and a 442, a bunch of Super 88s. We're going to interview someone here with the 442 in a second. Okay, I told you we were going to do an interview with a 442 owner. This is Kathy. This is her car, and she's got some very interesting stories. Kathy?
Hi, how are you doing?
Okay.
It's a 1969 442 Cutlass, made by Oldsmobile, obviously. They made about 4,000 or so of them that year. We've had some fun adventures. My husband and I, Vince, have done all the restoration on this car, but every time we seem to think we're done with it, she ends up getting hit.
Oh.
And so that's happened twice. We also had an incident of the axle breaking. It had been in an accident before we ever had it. And she decided to throw a shoe, so to speak, on the freeway doing about 65 miles an hour.
Oh, was that an e-ticket or what?
Definitely an e-ticket ride. Not something I'd highly recommend, but it's definitely, a good story now.
That is.
It's not the fish story.
Well, you got a beautiful car here. Now, you're the president of the Oldsmobile Club?
Yes, the Southern California chapter of the Oldsmobile Club of America.
Well, fantastic, and you got a good showing here today.
We've got a really great showing. I think we had about 44 cars here today of just Oldsmobiles. So
very nice, very nice.
And
well,
they've
Kathy,
all been beautiful.
Thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Bet.
Have a good day.
You bet. Thank you. Okay, now this is something you're not going to see every day. It's a 1958 Oldsmobile 88 with a two-tone interior, actually tri-tone, white, gray, and silver. Factory air conditioning, tilt wheel. Looks like it's fully optioned. It's got the Oldsmobile J2 rocket engine, period correct battery. The copper tubing in front is all factory. It's something you don't see on any cars nowadays for sure. Beautiful example of a 1958 Oldsmobile 88. Okay, now this one's about 1 year older than the last one we looked at. It's a 57 Olds 88 with a jetaway trans and a rocket 3 deuces under the hood on this one. Back in 57. We got a beautiful 1950 resto rod here. Really nice, lowered, really nice Demon engine in there. And then looks what we have here is looked to be a 1975 original Hearst Cutlass. W25 with the tri-tone interior, got the T-tops. What a gorgeous car, 8-track stereo, air conditioning, looks to be all factory original. Very nice car.